It has come to our attention that because our town is so well known for heritage architecture, some people have formed the idea there's nothing to do here but look at old buildings. Well, that's not so. I'm Ralph Wilsey, and this is my book on Perth, and what you're watching is my video, and while it was sponsored by the town, the observations are my own. So when I tell you that these are excellent fish and chips, or that Maximilian's schnitzel fingers make a great lunch, you can believe me. My reputation as a reliable documentarist is on the line, so I wouldn't try to fool you, and there's no need to fool you. Behind these venerated walls, some very interesting things are happening these days. This, for example, in 1840 was a tannery, and then a woolen mill. And if you had a magic camera and could see through these old stones, you would see what I mean. Of course, you won't need a magic camera. You can just walk through the door and this is what you would see. A picturesque resort town in spectacular country seems to attract and inspire the kind of people who work with their eyes as well as their hands and minds. These discerning eyes have filled the shops with artful displays that are worth seeing, even if you don't intend to buy. This one, the River Guild, sells only products handmade by artisans in our midst. You can be sure that a gift you buy here for someone back home will be something they do not already own. There's another kind of shopping here also. This was built in 1850 as a general store. Now it's an indoor flea market, and like any flea market, it has at least a few things that the one at home does not have. This one started in 1870 as a shoe store. Now it's a place where you can shop for art, but you can also learn to produce art yourself. You can learn to paint in watercolor or acrylic while vacationing in what has been called the prettiest town in Ontario. Looks like a nice way to spend an afternoon. And youngsters can do art projects while parents shop, or lunch, or even look at old buildings. This Art Deco style auto dealership dates from 1947. Now it houses a rosewood studio of fine woodworking. Students come considerable distances to learn from guest instructors, and this is a class in chair design. They are making mock-ups of their chairs in rough lumber, and then when the details are worked out, the design will be redone in fine hardwood. Some people come here for the theater. There are at least 3 dramatic companies and a long theatrical tradition. This is the company of the Studio Theatre after a recent performance of J.B. Priestley's An Inspector Calls. The Studio Theatre is also the site of many musical performances. This was the Perth Apothecary, a drugstore for more than a century. It's still in the business of making you feel better, but now it's O'Reilly's Ale House, where a lot of us go to enjoy live music. Most Tuesdays, for example, you'll find the busy songwriter Brock Zeman, who plays all over North America, but calls O'Reilly's his own. When you're staying in Perth, everything is a short walk from your room, which makes this a great place for those who like a variety of wines with dinner or a night of pubbing. Park the car, have a jolly evening, and walk back to your room, whether it's in the hotel, a bed and breakfast, or a motel on the highway. We've been talking about old walls. These are new walls. In 2012, our downtown Parkside Hotel became a Best Western Plus and joined that worldwide reservation system. This means visitors who have come any distance at all can make Perth their base for day trips to the nation's capital or Kingston.
Welcome to Canada.
After all, if you already live in a big city, why would you want to spend your vacation in some other city? It's a pretty nice hotel for a town of 7,000, but just right for a destination like this one has become, and essential really when you're the wedding capital of Eastern Ontario, as we were recently proclaimed. Our county, Lanark, is known as the maple syrup capital of Ontario, and at the end of April, when the work is done, we have a competition and a street party. And it usually feels like the beginning of summer here. There are bigger farmers' markets, but I can't think of a prettier one, located as it is on the Tay Basin, at the summit of the Rideau Waterway system. From this basin you can sail anywhere in the world, as long as your boat will fit under the bridge.
Once upon a time there was a tavern where we used to raise a glass or two. Remember how we'd laugh away the hours, think of all the great things we would do. Those were the days, my friend, we are never end.
In recent years, summer has brought with it our kilt race, recognized by Guinness as the biggest in the world.
Pull the other way.
And it remains the biggest even after a brave challenge by our ancestral city, Perth, Scotland, in 2012. After the race, it's not long until the Stewart Park Festival, 3 days of music in our pretty little park. It has become quite well known over the years.
Come by here. Yes, I'm down on my knees.
summer attraction is our garlic festival with its rib cooking contest. And then comes the fair itself, gateway to autumn.
Run down, pull a stick out of the barrel halfway down, around the bottom barrel, and put the stick back in the middle barrel.
Somebody scream!
Since Perth has been on the map as a summer destination for 100 years, I'll say no more about it. But autumn is a different story, a well-kept secret, enjoyed mostly by we who are permanent residents. The show of color is never the same 2 years in a row. Who would have thought the dry summer of 2012 would produce these brilliant oak leaves? These are my own favorite trees along Mary Street. December turns our town into a walk-in Christmas storybook, adult-sized, and that's a good reason in itself to visit. And also that you can find gifts here you won't find at home. And there are some great places to eat. Here's a building that dates from 1858 when it housed a blacksmith. Today it's Bistro 54, offering the cooking styles of northern Italy, and it's an especially good reason for visiting Perth in the cool months. While these dishes are great in the summer, they are even more satisfying when the air is crisp and the appetite keen.
This is pomodoro sauce, which is lemon and basil, onions, garlic. You know, so there's base sauces. We use them for many, many things. Of course, we have the cherry tomatoes, we have the sun-dried tomatoes and oil. We have our puttanesca sauce base, which is the olives, anchovies, and capers, lemon chilies. And of course, we have our bolognese sauce. So we start with the bases, but even things like mushrooms, we don't cut them until things are ordered, and that makes a difference.
Those were some excellent meals, and they could have been yours, my friends from elsewhere, except you weren't here. But the website that follows will tell you where to find us.